All right, here we go. We got question 46 going on right here. Which equation in standard form has a graph that passes through this point here? You got negative 4 comma 2, and it has a slope of 9/2. All right, multiple ways to do this question. Honestly, you could probably type all these equations into the Desmos and then see which one crosses through 4-2. That's probably the quicker way on to doing that. But I want to show you how to do this one by hand, so you don't have to work backwards on it. Okay, so they're going to give you this thing called the point slope formula. That'll be on the formula chart. It's y minus y1 equals m, and then times x minus x1. All right, and what that does is so we can write an equation given a point and given a slope. Right? So your point, your x1, y1, those are these values right there. And then the slope, I think they said it was negative, or I'm sorry, it was 9/2. Then after that, we're going to have to simplify eventually. We're going to have to get it in the format of y equals mx plus b. All right, and that's just getting it simplified. Then eventually, it looks like all of our standard, or all of our equations are in standard form, which is ax plus by is equal to c. So we kind of have to do quite a bit of steps to get our answer into that format. So we'll take it step by step here. So I guess we're going to plug in the y1, the x1, and the 9/2. So I'm going to say this first thing here, we're going to go y minus 2. We're going to put 9/2 out in front of the parentheses, and then we're going to go x minus negative 4. Minus a negative, that should change to a positive there. Okay, next thing here, I would use your calculator for this. Distribute the 9/2. So 9/2x, that's just 9/2. Now the next part here, 9/2 of 4, I guess you technically can divide it by 2 first, then multiply by 9, which is what I'm going to do. So I can do it in my head here. So I think that should be, 2 times 9. So I think that'll be 18. Okay, but if you're not for sure, just go ahead and use your graphing calculator because you should have one. Okay, now once we do that, we need to add 2 to both sides. So we can get it all the way in slope-intercept form. Y equals 9/2 x, and then I guess plus 20. Okay, but none of our answer choices are in that format. So we kind of have to work backwards to get it into this standard form. Essentially, standard form means you want no fractions. And that also kind of means decimals as well. So no fractions or decimals. You want x and y together. And then also, usually you want your x coefficient needs to be positive. Usually it's just, a little bit more visually, pleasing, I guess, to have, your x or the thing you're leading off with to be positive there. Okay, so let's take these equations here and let's get rid of the fraction here. So the way we do this, we're going to take both sides of your equation and you're going to multiply by the common denominator. In this case, you only got one denominator. So we're going to write that as 2y. 2 times 9/2, the 2's would cancel out. So it'd just be 9x. And then I guess you got plus 40. Now if you get x and y together, you need to subtract 9x from both sides. Those aren't like terms, so we just write it as 9x plus 2y, and then equals positive 40. Now the last step here, we want to lead off with a positive x, so I'm going to divide everything by negative 1, which essentially all that does is change your signs around. Then you can narrow down your answer. Whoops, should be 40. Let me clean that up. So that should be, what is that, answer H? And that's all she wrote there. So once again, you could have just typed that into Desmos, all your answer choices, and see which one crosses through 4, -2. It's probably an efficient way to do it as well. So, all right, let's look here. 47, which graph represents the solution set of y is greater than or equal to -7/2 x minus 2. Notice that all of these graphs, if you're just looking at the lines, notice all the lines kind of have the same thing going on. They got the y-intercept at looks like -2 on each of these. Yep, there's -2 on that one. I think all the other ones are the same. The only thing that's different is if you shade above or shade below, and then also if you do a dotted or a solid line. So the little line under the greater than, that means equal to. So if you have an equal to, that means a solid line. Okay, also greater than, when you have it solved for y, greater than usually means shade up. Shade up. So I'm already seeing A and C are not shading up. Those are shading downward. And then D, you have that dotted or that dashed line, so that can't be it. So it's got to be B in this case. If you got the Desmos, you could also type that into your Desmos app, and it should tell you the line, and it'll give you either the dotted or solid, which is kind of nice. So that'll be it on that question right there. Let's see what else we got here. 48, a bag of coins, 18 coins. Notice that's a total amount of coins. 18 coins consisting of quarters and dimes. The total value of the coins is $2.85. So you have two different totals here. Which system of equations can be used to determine the number of quarters? So they're not even asking for what the solution is. They're asking for what's the equation. So what I'm looking at first here, I see the 18 coins. So that's dealing with quarters and dimes. So that's just talking about the straight up number of coins you got. So we could say the quarters, the number of quarters, plus the number of dimes. I'm not sure what they are, but when you add them up together, you should get 18. So that might be able to, help you narrow down some of your answer choices. Now the other one is dealing with another total. And by the way, when you have totals usually mean you want to take two things or three things or however many things and add them up. So usually I always say when you got a total, it's usually something plus something equals the total. This next one's talking about the total cost. Now a lot of people want to put, Q and then plus D for this one right here. You don't want to stop there because this is dealing with cost. $2.85 is dealing with cost. So we need to associate some type of cost with the quarters and dimes. So the quarters, you're going for 25 cents a pop, and then for dimes that's 10 cents. So you could put 0.1 or 0.10. It doesn't necessarily matter. So I guess that one that matches up there. Okay, F doesn't match up there. I guess 0.10Q. Yeah, so 0.10Q quarters are worth a little bit more than that. So trying to see here. Oh, okay, so yeah, it's got to be H. Reason it's not J is because they have just the numbers adding up to the 285. We don't like that, so they have these numbers here switched around. And obviously the value can't add up to 18. They didn't say it. They didn't say it added up to $18. It said it added up to $2.85. So H is definitely our best option there. Okay. Next one here, which expression is a factor of x squared minus 5x minus 6. Okay, so many different factoring techniques there. I'm going to do this one kind of quick here. So we're saying, like what foils into this thing? We can think of, x and x. All right, we need factors of -6 that add up to -5. All right, be careful. A lot of people want to say -2 and -3 right there. Unfortunately, that doesn't multiply back to -6 right there. So you got to be kind of careful there on that. And I wound up erasing everything. So be careful. -2, -3 aren't actually your answers. -6 and +1 are going to be the best answers in this case. So kind of be careful on that. You see where they got, they put the -2, -3 because a lot of you guys, if you're working too quick, you're going to accidentally put that there. Make sure you get the true ones. They need to multiply to -6. Okay, so I guess as far as factors goes, here's one of your factors, the x minus 6. Now, if this was a plus down here at D, that was a plus, then we'd be in business here, but they put a minus there. I guess they're trying to make sure you're paying attention to your signs. So be kind of careful on that. You know what I noticed here, too? It's kind of a side thought. It seems like the test has been getting easier as we can go, which is kind of nice. I don't know. It's a random little side note there. Alright, so anyways here, last one for this video. The number of stores opened by a coffee company can be modeled by the exponential function graphed on the grid, where x is the number of years since 1992. Okay, so based on the graph, which statement appears not to be true? So let's see here. The coffee company had opened 400 stores by the end of 1992. So that, remember, x is the number of years since 1992. So I guess this is basically saying we're starting at 400, which looks like we are good to go on that one. So, yep, starts at 400. I like F right there. And remember, we're looking for not true. The coffee company opened 100 stores in 1 year. So let's look at what's going on in that first year. So I guess you have 400 stores there, and it looks like after 1 year, it kind of looks like you're in between 400 and 600. So obviously that's got to be 500. So that one seems like that's a pretty good option there. Oh, sorry, this little thing's coming up. Every year, the number of stores the coffee company opened increased by 25%. So that's where we got to be kind of careful and looking closely here. It looks like in that first year, 25% growth right there. 25% of 400 would be 100. So it does look like it appears to grow by 100. I guess 25% of 500, that'd be like, I guess 125. So it looks like it grows a little bit more than 100 right there. So it's looking like that's going to be pretty good on that one. So, and then let's just determine, make sure that we are being clear that J is not the answer. Since 1992, the coffee company has opened 250 stores each year. We can actually really quickly narrow that down because the first year they only opened 100. You only got like that plus 100 that first year. That second year, you actually only got 200 or around 200 by 2 years. So it's definitely not J. So actually, remember, we're doing not true. So it's going to be J there for that answer. So that's just kind of a graph interpretation problem there. All right, we got one more video.